wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your King. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now bring us a piggy pudding. Now bring us a piggy pudding. Now bring us a piggy pudding and bring it right here. Good tidings we bring to you and your King. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. So bring it right here. Good tidings we bring to you and your King. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Why is it stuck?
That beautiful song is a hard act to follow. I'm here to say good morning. My name is Patricia Devine. I'm a member of the Worship and Music Committee. The theme for today's service is Cosmic Wonders. The first part of our service is recorded. Following the benediction, the recording will end and we will go into our candles. That part is not recorded. The service will be posted on our Facebook page and on YouTube. We also share services with our local public access television. Our service this morning is presented by our minister, Reverend Arthur Lavoie. And Sandy Hammond, our music director, will be leading the music. If you are a visitor this morning and have questions, please reach out to any of us. Also, we're hoping if you're visiting, you might consider signing the guest book and we could put you on our mailing list for our newsletter. In the back, there also are pamphlets that explain in more detail what university, there are no pamphlets in the back. As a reminder, the last 3 rows on the right side of the chapel are a mask-wearing area for those who would prefer to wear a mask during the service. We're doing a fellowship hour and after the service this morning in the parlor. Please join us there. And if you would like to help out in future Sundays, please talk to Julia Thomas. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever you believe, wherever you are on your journey, let us walk together this hour.
Good morning, everyone. I'm the Reverend Arthur Lavoie. My pronouns are he, him, and his. And I want to offer a special welcome to any who are watching us online, on YouTube, on Facebook, or on public access television. We are delighted to have you with us this morning as part of our First Parish in Plymouth community. If you would like more information about First Parish in Plymouth, our website is firstparishplymouthuu.org. We invite you to check that out. you can get in contact with me, my email is there, or with our office manager to get more information about Unitarian Universalism or this congregation. Again, thank you for being with us this morning, and thank you everyone for being here.
The call to worship this morning is entitled "To Worship" by Jacob Trapp. To worship is to stand in. To worship is to stand in awe under a heaven of stars, before a flower, a leaf in sunlight, or a grain of sand. Worship is the mystery within us reaching out to the mystery beyond. It is the window of the moment open to the sky of the eternal.
Our first hymn is number 301. We're going to sing, I think there are all 5 verses, right? There are 5 verses here? Yep, we're going to sing all 5 verses. Please rise as well as you're able. Please wear a mask if you're going to sing, and there are masks on the back table if you don't have one. Please join in reciting the words to our chalice lighting. Love is the spirit of the church, and service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you both.
Someday I'll get used to this when we don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
I can't hear the thing.
Do I have your inches?
Well, no, I think you're reading on that.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not
Well,
You know, it's really wonderful when you think a lot alike.
or you can read it and then Patricia doesn't have to. So why don't you tell the story?
Okay.
And then we'll go right into the men singing, so.
Oh, when things like that work out.
Yeah.
Bathing in starlight. It was the end of a hectic day and the start of the kind of evening familiar to anyone who juggles work and young children. Time is the enemy, relentlessly streaming past, leaving in its wake the endless clutter of unfinished tasks. Like a flustered hen in the barnyard, I chuckled and chucked and fretted as I hustled my children along through the homework, dinner, bath time, and bedtime stories, always trying to get things to move a little faster against that ticking clock. With the kids finally in bed, a half hour late, I fussed my way out the door to give the dog her last walk, bustling along as my fretful mind danced through a dozen other things still not finished. I was halfway down the driveway before I glanced up. I stopped. My jaw dropped. There before me, the whole spread of the Milky Way splinted out across the clear black sky. Stars behind stars in the deep pool of space. And then I finally stood still, washed in the starlight that had been traveling towards me for millions of years. I was brought to my senses and very nearly brought to my knees. Because bedtime had been late, my children were still awake. To their delightful surprise, the mother hen reappeared in their doorway, no longer clucking, and carried them one by one, pajamas and all, out to the crisp winter air to bathe in that ancient light. Maybe this is all we can bear of the cosmic perspective at one time. This little glimpse of eternity that lets us see our small lives connected to everything else in so massive a scale. My awe at the immensity revealed in the clear night sky doesn't leave me feeling diminished or irrelevant. Instead, it reminds me that if we can be present exactly in the moment we are living, we can step outside of time together. We live immersed in that eternity. After all, we just forgot until something like starlight wakes us up to it again. And next week, we're going to be having a winter solstice and talk more about stars and the sun and the moon and the dark. But we're going to go on our journey of learning and discovery now. And Patricia's going to get to sit still.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Okay, guys, we're on.
Oh, no, there's a reading.
But that's the one that she just did. She
Oh,
did-
I'm sorry.
She
Okay.
picked the reading
Okay.
as the.
Got it. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, wait a minute, I have to give an explanation. Sorry about that. All right.
Whoa. Oh, hold on, don't put it back in. It's gonna make it. Don't do that.
All right, I think that works. Okay. This is how we planned, really. So I want to talk a little bit about this hymn before we sing it. The stories about the birth of Jesus come to us from two different sources, the Gospel of Luke and the Gospel of Matthew. They are entirely different stories. That parts of them have just been woven together to create the fancy little Christmas narrative that we have. In Luke, we have the journey from Nazareth to Bethlehem. We have them finding no room at the inn, landing in the stable. We have a choir of angels and the shepherds and all of that. None of that happens in Matthew. In Matthew, Mary and Joseph are already living in Bethlehem. There are no angels, no shepherds, but you have these three strange men that comes traveling from the east. People suggest that they might be Zoroastrian princes who are astrologers and watching the sky and seeing this miraculous star. On their journey to find this new king that the star supposedly foretells, they go to Jerusalem. And they talk to King Herod, because who else would know about a king than the existing king, right? King Herod is furious. He sends them on their way with the promise that they will return and tell him what they find when they get to Bethlehem. They go to Bethlehem. They visit with Jesus and Mary and Joseph, and then they return without going back to Jerusalem. Herod is incensed. He sends his army to kill all the male children in Bethlehem 2 years old and younger. That's all in this hymn that we're about to sing. So, that being said, this month is the 10th anniversary of the Sandy Hook Massacre. We know, as we honor and celebrate the birth of Jesus this month, in whatever way we do that, we know that there are so many children who are brutalized and killed and used as pawns in adult games. And so, as we sing this and as you listen, please remember that we this month honor every child that's born and renew our commitment to care for the care and nurture of all children who are in our midst. Thank you.
Rescued our Savior from Herod till Ben, has rescued to lances and knives. Who can dare tell murder so fell? These pretty young children in anguish are held. We're martyred together, his anger to quell. We're martyred together, his anger to quell. 3 kings are here, both wealthy and wise, come riding far over the snow-covered ice. Royal in throng, noble in song, they search for the child, the Redeemer of wrong. With tambers and drums they go sounding along. With tambers and drums they go sounding along.
Far out in the uncharted backwaters of the unfashionable end of the western spiral arm of the galaxy lies a small, unregarded yellow sun. Orbiting this at a distance of roughly 98 million miles is an utterly insignificant blue-green planet whose 8 descended life forms are so amazingly primitive that they still think digital watches are a pretty neat idea. Some of you may know that passage. It's the opening paragraph into Douglas Adams' The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Written almost 20 years ago, those words still seem fresh and relevant today. When I first read them back then, they made me feel kind of small, foolish, and insignificant. I don't feel that way today, but we'll get to that later. Human beings have been fascinated by the sky, the stars, and planets since time immemorial, probably since we could first comprehend anything outside of our instinctual selves. Every indigenous tradition has some connection to the universe, the cosmic systems that are just out of reach. We've all, they've all, and we've all created multiple myths and legends over the years to try to make some sense of everything that's out there and try to figure out its connection to us. Trying to wrap our limited minds around the great beyond. It has been the location of our dreams, our sense of wonder, and we have imbued the stars and planets with mythical creatures and deities. And of course, we put heaven out there somewhere. Have you seen any of the photos from NASA's James Webb Telescope? One of them is on the cover of the Order of Service. They're magnificent, they're surreal, they point to places millions of miles away. We now have images of several galaxies, which is only a fraction of what's out there. When we look at these images or any of the stars we might see at night, scientists tell us that we're actually looking back in time. These objects in the cosmos are so far away that their light has traveled over centuries and millennia to get to us. What we see is practically old news by the time it reaches our eyes. Yet it is magnificent and fresh and new, magical and awe-inspiring. What thoughts and feelings do these pictures, these images bring up for you? When you stare into a night sky filled with stars and wonders, what is it that you feel? Our ability to understand a bit about how the universe is structured is relatively new in human history. Our first ancestors didn't know how to make sense about planets and stars or even the changes in light and darkness. I don't know if you remember from early science or even religion classes, we believed that the earth was flat for the longest time. Even in the 15th century, when Columbus and other explorers ventured west from Europe, there were still many that feared they would fall off the edge of the earth. The first creation story in the Bible tells us that God created a firmament that separated the waters above from the waters below, creating that kind of a dome. In that more primitive mindset, I suppose they thought, well, how could we have rainwater and snow falling from the sky if it wasn't already up there? So the waters had to be separated. There were also little pinprick holes in that dome, in that firmament, that allowed us to see the light on the other side as it peeks through in the form of stars. We evolved over time with the use of early telescopes to see and understand more of our own solar system and a little bit of the stars and planets beyond. But we had an inflated sense of ego, of being made in the image of God. And so we placed ourselves as God-like rulers over everything that we saw, and lorded over an earth that was placed at the center of the solar system, the center of the universe as we knew it. Our understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe was one of privilege and dominion. In the 16th century, which was not that long ago, Copernicus proved that the sun, not the earth, was at the center of the solar system. He was excommunicated for blasphemy. The human ego and human authority could not handle being taken down a notch. Now, today, I wonder if we can see ourselves a bit more realistically. Have we truly been able to let go of our arrogance and sense of self-importance? how do each of you see yourselves today in relation to the universe? Most of us are fascinated with space adventure and space fantasies. The Star Trek franchise has had many iterations as they have explored new worlds where no human has ever gone before. Then there was Star Wars, and now the Marvel Universe. Some of these films are more focused on the battles we fight and will have to fight with those from other worlds to maintain our way of life and perhaps even our cultural dominance. And I suppose battle scenes and death and destruction or the threat of such, that's what sells comic books and gets people to go to the movies, right? But does it have to be that way? Are we earthlings alone in our expectations of war and dominance? Or is that an egotistical and arrogant stance? And is it common in beings from other worlds that we might encounter? Doctor Who, the British space franchise, is popular, I think, because they have created this cosmic godlike figure, the Doctor, that has special affinity for the Earth and her people. The sacred appears in an ever-changing form as they protect and watch over us. This series has once again humanized an image of a benevolent deity to safeguard us from the evils of those we don't know, or our fears of what we don't know or have control over. Even today, with all of our knowledge and astronomical research, we don't really know often how to talk about the great cosmos beyond. I've heard it said that our fascination with the cosmos and outer space reflects our need to explore and understand those things we cannot quite grasp. There may be some truth to that. But I would like to think it has more to do with our desire to feel wonder and awe, to be touched by beauty and greatness and miracle. When we try to put the cosmos into nice, neat little boxes of our own explanation, we diminish that sense of miracle, of our real place in the universe. We return to the more dominant and controlling way of viewing the world and the cosmos around us. Perhaps the Reverend Kimberly Wedzewski is correct when she writes, we have to start with curiosity. We have to begin with the truth that we are but a speck. Important, yes. Beloved, worthy of life and love and health and safety, but still a grain of sand in 1,000 stunning deserts. I think we find within this possibility, I think we've learned to breathe, she writes, to let go, to give thanks, to bow in awe. taking a deep breath, starting with curiosity, giving thanks and bowing in awe. We can do all of that without giving up our humanity, without feelings too small, without giving up the sense of our own value and worth. We don't have to feel small or less than to know that this cosmic universe is part of our reality. It is within us and without. In the poem Boundaries, the Reverend Lynn Unger writes, "The universe does not revolve around you. The stars and planets spinning through the ballroom of space dance with one another quite outside of your small life. You cannot hold gravity or seasons. Even air and water inevitably evade your grasp. Why not, then, let go? You could move through time like a shark through water, neither restless nor ceasing, absorbed in and absorbing the native element. Why pretend you can do otherwise? The world comes in at every pore, mixes in your blood before breath releases you into the world again. Did you think the fragile boundary of your skin could build a wall? Listen. Every molecule is humming its particular pitch. Of course, you are a symphony. Whose tune do you think the planets are singing as they dance? If we can learn to appreciate mystery and wonder, if we are in tune with the musings of our own souls, if we can be held and enveloped by beauty and awe, then each one of us is a symphony dancing with the universe, with the cosmic wonders all around us. May it always be so. Amen. And blessed be. Our closing hymn is number 226. And we're going to be a couple of different parts. People can just join in and sing along where they want to, right?
So we're doing this a cappella, no piano. Why don't the four of us, the four of us will sing verse 1 once so you can hear it. If you hear us doing fancy harmonies towards the end, feel free to ignore them if they're overwhelming, or plan on singing them if you like. So we'll do verse 1 once, and then we'll do verses 1, 2, 3. You can join in at any time. And oops, why isn't this? Sorry, this is my pitch up. Hold on, I got it.
People look east, the time is near, for the crowning of the year. Make your house fair as you are able, trim the hearth and set the table. People look east and sing today, love the guest is on the way.
Verse 1.
inspiration, I'm going to return to the words of Jacob Trapp that were in our call to worship. Worship is the mystery within, reaching out to the mystery beyond. It is the window of the moment, open to the sky of the eternal. Amen.